Welcome back to the podcast of Steel. Today I have a very special guest, Trevor Carlee, animator, Lego superstar, all round fantastic guy, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about you, sir. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I'm excited. I am excited. I've been looking forward to this chat. I love what you do with your Lego creations online, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the process and how your mind works, sir. So, if you could, for those that aren't aware of you, please a little bit of an origin story about Trevor Carlee, please.
An origin story. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a Lego animator online. I do a bunch of popular movie and TV scenes in Lego animation. I actually started in the industry, the film industry, as an editor. So I used to be a film and television editor, and then a couple years ago, just kind of caught the bug for animation and took off from there.
And it has taken off. I was just before we started recording today, I was trying to go through picking out some highlights from your highlight reel, as it were, and it was so hard to do. And we will get to those wonderful recreations shortly. But how sort of your early days was Lego a big part of that passion for you as well when you were a child?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I would build a ton of, like, we had a bunch of Lego and I would build just random things. And my mom had like this, we didn't have any china in it, but we had a china cabinet.
Mm.
And so I would just build these things. And then, like, so instead of china in the china cabinet, it was just like all my Lego creations in it. So I was very, very into just building Lego when I was a kid. Yeah, I was super into that.
That's it. I mean, I think we've all tried and failed with some Lego kits as a child, but we've gotten better as we have grown, and some say grown up. Not the case with me, but I
Yeah.
mean, one of my older pieces that I made up was I
Oh,
brought a
I
few
love
props along.
that.
It was released at a Comic-Con a few years ago, and it was very hard to get and
I can
ridiculously
imagine.
expensive. But there are some fantastic people online that sort of said, "Well, we've got all the Lego pieces. Let's just recreate it." So yeah, I
Yeah,
found a guy, sent me the sort of the little instruction manual. So now I've got my own Action Comics replica. I mean,
love it.
as it comes to creations, that's good enough for me. I
Yeah.
know I couldn't be able to create anything of your fantastic caliber, but when it comes to your Lego animation, how did that begin for you? So you said you worked on that before.
Uh, like when did I now, like how a couple years ago when I got
Yeah,
into it?
when you got into it.
Yeah, I had basically when I was an editor, I would also do visual effects, and so I often kind of faked 3D in my visual effects using After Effects. And a few years ago, I was just like, I need to really understand 3D if I want to get more jobs doing visual effects. And so I kind of really got into Blender, which is this 3D software I use to animate. And I was creating 3D art and whatever. And then I just wanted to take a stab at animation. And it wasn't even Lego that I first did. I did this thing called Buffy into the Slayerverse, and it was like an homage to Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse intro. And I just basically rewrote the whole intro to be Buffy centric and like did all of her stuff. And as I was doing, because that was just kind of like a fun thing, I found out learning around something that you're obsessed with, which I'm obsessed with Buffy, really helps kind of push you through. So that helped me learn 3D. I was doing like a 3D piece for every episode of Buffy. And so I was like, well, let me try to do that with animation. So I did this which they always say, if you're learning animation, don't do some big project, just do little bits. And I was just like, I'm not going to listen to that advice and just do the.
Dive
So I did.
straight in. That's
That's
it.
right. I dove straight in, and I loved it. Like I caught the bug. I think on the second shot that I did, which was just like a close up of her feet running, and I was like, this is such an incredible feeling, like making something out of literally nothing. And so I did that, and it got pretty well received online. I didn't really have a following then. I had like maybe a few hundred people, but everybody loved it, and it was catching steam. And then I just tried a random Buffy scene in Lego. I think I did the the Spike and I are getting, I don't know if you ever watched Buffy, but when Buffy and Spike said Spike and I are getting married, and Xander's just like, what?
Hmm.
I just did that. It was like a quick little 5 second scene. And every time I look back on it, it's very rough. Like it's not what I do today, where everything is like a lot more polished and like a lot more life. Because I was just figuring out like the mechanics of animating Lego. But just doing that, I was like, oh, this is really fun. It's like a really fun challenge that's different than, humanoid bodies. And everybody seemed to love it. So I just kind of kept doing that. And that's where my following started to grow. So I just kept
And
with it.
it has worked because yeah,
Yeah.
you have been keeping at it with so many different fandoms, and that's what I say. Going through your YouTube page, I'll add a link to that to the podcast. You can see even your very early videos. There's still there. Your attention to detail has always been there, and I love how you compare it with the original footage, so you can
Mhm.
you can see just how you managed to recreate even an eyebrow twitch. You're able
Yeah.
to recreate that in Lego, which is famously not very, emotive sometimes, but with the
Yeah.
animation, which we all adore and love,
Right.
people of all ages, you've brought that into a world, especially with some, again, fandoms that aren't necessarily Lego friendly,
Yeah.
including the fantastic Pulp Fiction recreation. I was watching that today. I think as a young film fan, I was quite proud when I memorized Ezekiel 25:17.
Yeah.
I was taken out of that this morning when I think, hang on, this is
Yeah.
this is Lego now. Where are we? And that was
Yeah.
brilliant. What was that like when you released that final recreation?
That it's funny because that the two Tarantino scenes that I've done so far were ones that have just been like living in the back of my head, and they're scenes that, I think about often, and I was like, I should just do that. Like especially the Kill Bill one, because it plays on the soundtrack.
Mm,
Every time I hear it, I would just do it, and it was doing. So I just like sat down and was like, I should just do this, and those were super fun to do, even though they're like really long.
mm.
It was doing these things that I love so much and bringing them into this world. I always get excited when I bring like a new movie or a new show into this world. It was a little, it gets a little murky because then I get I get a lot of comments either jokingly or sincerely requesting things like the basement scene from Pulp Fiction. I'm like, I'm not gonna cross that line. I
Oh,
don't want. I don't think I don't think anybody really wants to see that, and B, I don't think Lego would like be able to just stay quiet
yeah.
from there on up. Like, would be like, I think maybe you should stop.
Yeah, or sort of put the lotion on the skin scene from
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't need that with
like
Lego.
yeah,
Thing. We need to still
there
keep
is a
it fair.
line. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a very fine line, and you've done well to avoid that as well. So well
yeah.
done. But it's just a fun way to see these characters that we've known from films and television in this Lego form now. Especially you've done some fantastic It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia
Mhm.
reconstructions. You've done things the Community as well, and
Yeah,
and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
yeah.
It's but it doesn't make the scene it doesn't change it too much. The magic is still there. You've chosen these fantastic, iconic scenes that everybody knows word for word, but it makes it more special with the Lego. When you see a scene in a TV show and you know, right, I've got to recreate that. When does that moment of inspiration come from, and how do you start creating?
Um, it varies where the inspiration comes from. Sometimes because I a lot of the comedy shows that I am have been creating in Lego, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community, Parks and Rec. I rewatch those a ton with my wife, like at night, just kind of like we'll watch new shows, but then to chill out before going to sleep, we'll watch our favorites. And oftentimes, I mean, I have a giant list, but oftentimes, well, as we're watching, I'm like, oh, that would actually be really funny as Lego, and then I'll just like run to my iPad and like write it down. So I have this running list of just like tons of scenes. So whenever I don't have inspiration, I just look at my list. I'm like, that one. But yeah, most of the time it's just like I'll get an idea and just be like, oh, that would be really fun, or something might be happening culturally at the moment where people are talking about something, and I'll be like, oh, I should do that scene because that relates to this. So it's just kind of like, and that's what honestly has kept me making so many is I'm just going with like what I'm passionate about in the moment instead of like following a list of like, okay, well now I have to do this and now I have to do this because then it would just feel so much like work and like I
Yeah.
have to do it as opposed to just whatever I'm really excited about.
Oh, I love that passion though for the creating it is still there, and you'll see something new or you something will be released, and you think, right, I've got to make that. Not only I've
Yeah.
got to make it, I've still got to make it while that said content is still relevant. I know
Yeah.
recently you did the fantastic dance routine from Wicked.
Yes.
How long did that take? Because it was blowing up the internet and still has been on social
Yeah.
media. How long did that take you to sort of get the idea, create it, and then share it?
That so I had the idea when I saw it in theaters, but I couldn't do anything until that was one of my issues. Is same happened with Deadpool and Wolverine. I have to wait until it's available digitally, because I'm not going to use like a screen recording of the movie screen, obviously. But I wait till they come out digitally, and so that one came out I think close to Christmas, and then I was working on obviously the Superman trailer until Christmas. But then right after that, I grabbed a snippet of the scene that I had when I saw it in the theater. I was like, this would be a really fun challenge, basically. Like, there's a ton of I'm working on other Wicked stuff too because I just love
Oh,
Wicked so much.
awesome.
But
So it was a fantastic film. I didn't know
yeah,
much about
yeah.
it. My girlfriend's a big musical fan. So I said, right, let's go and we'll see it. And she's already seen it at the theater. But I was blown away by the visuals of that film.
Oh,
So
so good.
I'm very pleased that more will be coming from you as
Oh,
well.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I love Wicked. But yeah, that one took I want to say it took me about 3 days. Like the building the set was a big part, and then I ran into some hiccup. Like the fun challenge for me when I started it was there's a thing you can do in Blender where you can basically copy characters, so you can like create an animation for a character and then you can like instance that character around the scene. But because, as you said, I like to be very detail oriented and make sure the characters are represented as themselves. the, it's like one of the benefits of the movie was kind of like this hurdle I had to get over, whereas every single character is unique. They all have a specific hairstyle. They all like, even though they're all wearing the same uniform, it's all like different versions of the uniform. So I had to kind of weigh the balance of what to keep detailed and what to not, because I
Wow.
couldn't have 100 characters. My Blender would just blow
No,
up.
yeah,
So I focused on just the main group and made sure they were all individual unique characters, and then like if you pause it and look at all the people in the back behind them, they're all the same person, but it's all blurred out, you can't really tell. So I was just like,
oh,
this will just fill it out.
you're ruining the
um
magic for me,
I
Trevor.
know.
You're killing me. You're killing me. But it's a fantastic scene, and I recommend anybody that do enjoy your recreations to watch it on the biggest screen you can find, because it's finding the slightest little imperfection. That there are
Yeah,
those classic little scratches that you get on the little
yeah.
Legos. That they're there. It's those little things like that. How Lego would move. They don't have
Hmm.
opposable thumbs, sadly. So that whole
Yeah.
moment when they're banging on the book, that classic little
Yeah.
moment, it's all things like that which makes it truly magic. Now,
Make it.
your videos get a lot of views and
Hmm.
they are wonderful to see and they spread so much joy. Have you had any instances where you've had feedback from the stars that you are recreating? Because I'm sure they must have seen them.
Yeah, I have actually. The first, the very, I want to say it was the first because it's the one that I remember the most and what kind of kicked off like me being like, oh, maybe this is the direction. Was I think it was a year and a half ago. Edgar Wright had DM'd me when I did Hot Fuzz, and he was like, "This is incredible. Can you send me the clip so I can share it?" And I remember my wife and my kids. We were literally leaving. Like I got the DM as we were going. I can't remember where we were traveling to, but we were going on vacation, and I was just like, Edgar Wright just DM'd me. And she was like, "What?" And I was like, how do I respond to this? I don't know how to handle this." And I got so excited and I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, here's the clip or whatever." And then he shared it on his thing. And
Did
then just that experience alone was like, I feel like this is something big. It's like not so much just like, oh my God, a celebrity like my thing, but it was more like it wasn't even just the celebrity of it. It was just like this person that I admire, this artist that I admired something that I made, and it was just like this really cool feeling. And so I kept going. And then ever since, it's just been directors and actors and whatever of the stuff I made,
it's
either
fantastic.
sharing or DMing. It's really great.
I mean, Edgar Wright, you can't go wrong with Edgar Wright, one
Yeah.
of the best exports this country has ever
Yeah.
created. If you could just go ahead and recreate the whole Cornetto trilogy
Yeah.
and
All of it.
Spaced as well, let's go
Yes.
full flog. Let's just make
Yeah.
everything Edgar Wright because I know he would just love that to bits.
Yeah.
But because those characters and Edgar Wright's films are so visually fun, it's filled
Hmm.
with physical humor and very expressive characters. It still works in Lego form. So
It
you're
does,
thinking,
yeah.
yeah, let's. I know you're a busy man, but yeah, if you
Yeah.
can just
Let's just
create the
make
whole
all of it.
trilogy, and then we'll do Space, then we'll do his
Yeah.
earlier stuff as well. But Edgar Wright, fantastic guy, and I mean, yeah, if he's a fan of your work, then you know you're doing something right, which is brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
And something that I've been trying to be patient to bringing this up, but yes, James Gunn did share your Superman trailer as well.
It
I
did, yeah.
think I've watched your version of the trailer almost as much as James Gunn's version of the trailer. What was that like for you recreating that?
That was something. Making trailers is a lot of late nights, especially when I'm like trying to stay relevant
Mm.
within, the release of the trailer. So that I think that one took me about a week straight, and I was working, and that was the week leading up to Christmas because he released it a week before Christmas. I was hoping and waiting for it to be Super Bowl trailer, and so I was like, oh, when the Super Bowl comes, that's what I did with Deadpool and Wolverine. The Super Bowl comes, I'm gonna watch it, I'm gonna run home, and then I'm just gonna, animate the trailer that comes out. And then he released it. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna do it now. Sorry, family. So, but and my family was super supportive and amazing while I was working on it. And I just basically was up until like midnight, 2 in the morning sometimes, just knocking it out. And it's one of those things where like you think what it's gonna take to make the trailer.
Mm.
Like even after I think I had made two trailers already. I did both of the Deadpool Wolverine. Even though I've been through that, I should know you're gonna run into hurdles. You're gonna run into things that are gonna be very difficult and things that are gonna take longer than you thought. And every time I just forget and I get in and I'm like, why is this not working? But it's a really fun challenge and something those ones are the ones where like when I'm done, I feel really accomplished because I really the whole reason I even started this was to improve my animation skills. And so I want to take on like sometimes I take scenes that are just simple two characters talking and it's just like a fun getting something out there. But a lot of the time I'm taking on scenes that have something new that I need to figure out to understand how things work. And so when I take on trailers, especially the Superman trailer, there's so many things that I learned from it that I can use in future scenes. And I love getting that from the projects I take on.
Magic. What was one of the trickiest parts from that trailer that you created?
I would say Crypto carrying Superman was one of the most difficult ones because a Crypto aside, like creating and rigging Crypto because it was between using just the way Lego movies do dogs, which is just the solid dog kind of wobbling
Yeah.
around. And I was potentially going to do that, but with so much focused on Crypto and the emotion and the way he like digs down to Superman and the way he like is running, I felt like it wouldn't quite have that same emotional pull that it has in the movie and the original of official trailer. And so I was like, I feel like I need to make these legs movable because I really want to get into like the actual emotion of Crypto. But then the shot where he's dragging Superman, it's a pain because I animate the characters on twos, like stop motion, like the Lego movies, where every other frame is where their body updates, but the camera's on ones, which
Okay.
is also like the Lego movie. And this is getting really in the weeds, but
No, I love
basically
this. This is fantastic. This is what I wanted, Trevor.
so I have cloth physics on the cape when he's running, but the cloth it can't be on ones because if he's running on twos, it's the cape's gonna update every frame and it's gonna like go in between him and it's gonna be like offset from his body. But you can't render cloth physics in twos. So what I had to do was I had to animate him on ones, animate the cloth physics on one, bake it locally, and then I had to go into every other file of the cloth physics because basically cloth physics create a file for every frame. I had to go to every other one and then duplicate all the even. It was so much work for this like 15 frame shot. And then like and there was so many things that I messed up in baking the like I couldn't do it. I couldn't make him run and do cloth. I had to basically have him run in place and do so there's just a shot where he's just running in place and the cloth's going and then I had to like instance that as its own like basically like compressed animation sequence and then animate that moving along the snow. It was a very, it took me, I think that shot took me like 7 hours because I was just like dying trying to like figure out. I was like, why is this not working? Why is this clipping? And literally at the very end, I was like, I feel like it needs something else. And that's when I was just like, I'm gonna make Superman's head bounce up and down on the ground because I thought that was super funny. So that was one of the more difficult ones that I just didn't think of. It was funny because that's one of the things where my wife would be like, "How much longer, do you think the trailer's going to take?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I'd probably in like another day, day and a half of shots." And then that was me thinking that, well, this shot's just 15 frames. That's going to be like an hour. And then that took the rest of that day. I was like, "Okay, actually, maybe it'll be 3 days." I don't know anything anymore.
But I love the fact that you are so attentive to the detail of it, and that you are a perfectionist, because it shows in your work. It shows with the fantastic feedback that you get online, and when filmmakers like James Gunn and Edgar Wright share your work, it's a fantastic homage to these creators, that you spend so much time on it and that you can do it so quickly. I can see
Yeah.
now why that trailer did get so many views, both the original and yours, because I'm guessing you were just side by side watching each frame as you
Yeah.
go along. But you
Yep.
must sleep and dream Lego sometimes, Trevor.
Yes.
Is it
That is
quite
right.
traumatic when you pass a Lego store and you just think, no, you hear those
Yeah.
boxes rattle and you think, no, they're back at me again.
Yeah. I can't escape.
Oh,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's the love for the Lego that everyone loves. It's international. It's as famous as Superman. So seeing that has been wonderful. There have been rumors that more Lego will be released for the Superman film. I'd
Oh,
be very
nice.
happy with that. I'm ready
Oh,
for a
yeah.
new crypto, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But what have been some of your favorite Lego kits over the years? And if you could, what building or film set would you love to have that hasn't been made yet?
That's a great question. I don't know that I have any favorite sets just because I haven't built like, I mean, I have little ones like my wife got me one of the Wicked sets that came out, but I haven't built one of the big ones in a while. I've built the ones with my kids and those are really fun just because I'm building with my kids, but I want to say something that would be super cool that I guess they never will make would be something from the Buffy universe. As I said, I would buy that in a heartbeat and build it instantly if they did like Buffy's living room or Giles's apartment or the magic box or anything. I would probably buy many of them and just keep rebuilding
Well, that's
them.
good. Never say never. They've just
Yeah.
released news that they're creating a Twilight set. So
Oh,
they've made friends from sets. They've made countless ones from Disney and Marvel and DC Comics. So never say never, Trevor. So that's it. That would be
that's right.
again. The fans are out there for it, which is why
That's for
fans
sure.
love to see old shows come back. Wherever sort of bit of life they get pumped back into it, they're happy to see it.
That's
So
right.
let's hope you get your Buffy set. That's for sure.
Yes.
What are you working on currently, sir? What are your current projects that you can talk about?
I am currently working on a Wicked scene. I'm doing, I don't know when this is gonna come out, but they'll most likely see it by then. I'm working on the popular, just the moment from popular,
Wonderful.
not the whole thing, but just the most popular one where she says "Right," and slams the book. I'm doing just that little section there, and then I have a bunch of other scenes. I haven't decided the order in which I'm going to do them, but definitely something from like Mythic Quest because they just came out with a new season of that, and just that kind of, and then other stuff that I'm doing with some studios that I can't talk about yet.
Oh, say we like a little bit of a sprinkle of
A
a
little bit of
tease,
mystery.
Trevor. Over the years, that this might be as difficult as picking a favorite child, but what has been one of your favorite projects when you finally hit publish, share, and post that you thought, I'm really happy with that?
I mean, it might be recency bias, but the Superman trailer was definitely up there. Like I keep going back and looking at it and I'm like, oh yeah, that was good. I think you did good with that. And that was yeah. I really like that one. The Deadpool Wolverine fight um was I was really proud of that one because that was difficult because of how tight everything was,
Mm.
like just in the car. Like I loved that challenge. Um Kill Bill was a really, really great one. Yeah. A lot of the movie ones were kind of my favorite just because they were so involved in like the light. Like I love doing all the shows and stuff, but a lot of the shows that I do have not generic lighting, but everything's very well lit because it's mostly sitcom kind of things. And so doing movies where like there's really dramatic lighting and different colors and things, that's always so exciting to create. So I get really excited about those.
Oh, what things have you sort of you've worked on and thought, no, I can't do this. I'm not happy. I'm going to scrap that idea. Has that ever happened for you?
Yeah, yeah. I have not a lot, but there have been two or three or four that I've like started and not finished and never planned to. Like for instance, one of them was I don't know if you've seen Community, but I started building the set for the scene of when Abed basically he paints on the wall a cartoon tunnel and he speaks from behind a trash can to convince Troy to run through it. And he's like, "There's everything tastes like rainbows here, or whatever." And Troy's about to run through, and I love that scene so much. But then I get so many comments on my community one on YouTube specifically, where Pierce's dad has the ivory hair, and Britta says, "I can excuse racism, but I draw the line at animal cruelty." It was all just for that punchline of a
Just
joke.
that.
You can excuse racism, but so many like that. I think that thing has like 20 million views on YouTube, and so it's got tons of comments being like, "He should have real hair," and it's a lot of people missing the joke. Like the joke is the excuse racism and has nothing to do with his hair. And so in the middle of building the set, I was like, I'm just gonna get so many comments telling me, well, this doesn't make any sense. They're already in an animated world. And I'm like, I'm just gonna not animate this. I don't want to deal with all those comments.
There's going to be
So
too
things like
much
that,
work.
I'll be in the
Oh,
middle of something. I'll be like, this comments on this are gonna be so obnoxious. I'm just gonna not do the scene.
I mean, that does make it easier than just think, no, I'm not going to deal with
Yeah,
the
I'm
comments.
done. Yeah.
I'm just going to give up. Even though I've
Yeah.
created 75% of this project,
Yeah.
that's going straight in the bin. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. But again, it shows like Community and Brooklyn Nine-Nine that have got all those memeable scenes, those
Absolutely.
little 30-second clips or sometimes 15 seconds that you recreate. So
Yeah.
for you, for example, for a 15-second clip that we get from a TV show, how long would that take for you to recreate?
It depends on the clip itself, but I would say generally 1 to 2 days.
Okay.
Like some scenes, if it's just like like the Succession clip that I did, that was longer, but if that was like 15 seconds, that probably would have taken me about a day. I think it took two just because it was long and there was weird camera work and whatever. It was like a day and a half maybe,
Wow.
but yeah, generally if it's a pretty simple set and then it's just like two characters sitting and talking, I can knock that out in like 6 hours to a day.
Wow. You've got to set up like a camera and do like a
Yeah.
time lapse. Just want to see how quickly your
Yeah.
fingers click around the screen.
That's what
That
my
is
wife actually, when I was doing the Superman trailer, she's like, you should just like put a phone in the back of your room and just record a time lapse of you just like,
just you just pulling your hair out. No,
yeah,
no, 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 not
this
again.
cape.
Damn you, crypto.
Yeah.
Oh, but I mean, it's the speed that is impressive for you. And just recently, we saw like a 2 second clip of that the spin Superman flying
Oh
through the
yeah.
mountains. That's gathered lots of conversations online, going
Oh yeah.
back to the comment section. How long was that one? Because I mean, you got that one out really quick.
Yeah, I mean, I would have gotten that out on the day it came out, but what was I working on? What did I drop before that? There's so many now. I can't remember what I was working on. I was working on something else, and then once that came out, I worked on that. It only took me a day
Wow.
to make it, because it was just the one shot. But Yeah, I want to say like that was one where I didn't even see the teaser at first. I just saw everybody obviously commenting about the one shot. God forbid. And so then I went and looked it up, and I was actually going to just do the teaser because I got a bunch of comments being like, when are you going to do the new Superman teaser? Come on, don't let us down. And so I went and checked it out, and there was just two new shots in it. It was all shots from the
Yeah.
original trailer, and then there was Lex walking, and then the barrel shot at the end. And I was legit like, oh, whatever, I'll do those two shots, throw the old stuff in. But all those shots that he used in the teaser are slightly like shifted
Oh,
time wise, and it would require so much work to go into those animations and like try to like slide it and then like it sounds simple like, oh, you just slide it and like create the missing. I'm like, no, but like trying to really get that to match and then coming up with the extra, I was like, that the work ratio to amount of people that will see this, I feel is too small because the issue is it just starts like the original trailer. So I was like,
mm.
this is gonna pop up in someone's feed and they'll be like, oh, I already saw the Lego Superman trailer, and just keep scrolling. I was like, I'm gonna go through all that work to like recreate this and nobody will see it. So I was like, I'll just do the fun barrel roll. That'll be a fun challenge.
But you would have noticed it, Trevor. That it would
I
have
would have
every
noticed it.
time you watched it, it would have killed you just a little
Yeah.
bit
I was
more
like,
each time. Oh, thanks, Mr. Gunn, for that slight
yeah.
shift in frameage. Really appreciate that, buddy. But you can't go mad with Mr. Gunn. He's happy with your work and he's shared
Yeah.
it and he's got a lot more eyes on your page. And it's also given the film even more promotion and publicity. So as a
Yeah.
Superman fan, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I am, of course, very excited for the film coming out this
Yes.
year. What are your thoughts on James Gunn Superman?
I'm so excited. I've been geeking out with a friend of mine, because we've talked about Superman basically the entire time we've known each other. We had quite a point of contention, not like actual fighting, but like he always jokes because I enjoyed Man of Steel because I just basically love every iteration of Superman.
Thank you.
So I love Christopher Reeve, I love Tyler Hoechlin, I love Brandon Routh, I love all of the Henry Cavill. And so I just like I get excited like even in watching those if there's a thing I'm just like I'm watching Superman on this big screen. It's so fun. Like can't go wrong. So I'm super pumped for this and I love just the hopeful vibe of the whole thing. It the trailer gave me the feeling that I'm assuming you've seen Superman and Lois.
Yes, sir.
But the first 6 minutes of Superman and Lois with just like the him catching the car and just the music and his dialogue and the whole like the I always joke the first 6 minutes of Superman and Lois is my favorite Superman movie. Like I'm like
you
that's it. That's what.
People have said it before. It's not wrong.
Yes,
It's not
it's so
wrong.
good.
Would you ever consider recreating that?
Yeah, I've actually thought about recreating that. I mean, that's a much bigger task
Yes.
because it's so long, but yeah, I've definitely because I've watched that a ton. I'm like, I probably should recreate this.
It's
Just A because I love it, and I also feel like I want more people to know about Superman and Lois. It's so
it's
good.
a fantastic hit of dopamine. Just that whole montage of all the heroics, the
Yeah,
saving of the car, how it's just ripped from comic book pages.
so good.
And I think when people see that and think, oh, this could work as a Superman film. So, okay, well,
Yeah,
go and watch this
let's do
show
that.
then, because they did it.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a thing. I didn't
Yeah.
create this. I just made it a little bit special. Oh, but yeah, that again, it's a fantastic Superman movie, as it said. It's
Yeah.
a fantastic piece of cinema. But I'm looking forward to hopefully not too many more trailers. I like to not
Yeah.
watch them as much. I
Yeah.
want some surprises. Sadly, with me being a Superman blogger, it's kind of impossible.
Yeah.
But if they were to release anything more at the Super Bowl, which is happening soon, this might be actually
Yeah.
out before that happens. I'm hoping for some more crypto footage. If there is,
Yeah.
I know crypto is a sore point for you right now, but would you like to try and recreate some more crypto scenes?
Oh yeah, well now that I have the crypto rig, I can just whenever they pop him up, I'm sure I'll jump on it and make some more.
Have you ever had any friends sort of request that you create them in Lego form or recreate home video footage?
Not friends, no. They usually that most of my friends know like how extensive it is
Yeah.
and how much time it takes. I do get a lot of requests like in DMs, people are like, can you do this for my home video or my thing, which I appreciate that people want it. I
Yeah.
just don't have the time for
Yeah,
that.
if you were being paid the big bucks, then yes, I will
Yeah.
recreate your wedding, your
Right.
dance, your christenings. I will do that for the right
Yeah.
price. But the work and stress that goes involved in that would be
Exactly. Yeah.
quite a bit. So I mean, it must be, that again, going back to that attention to detail. Have you got sort of one screen playing the film, and then you've got your creative screens as well?
Yeah, my layout is I have a bunch of panels. One's for my textures, one's for my timeline, one's for the area where I'm animating, and then over on the left side of my screen is basically like what my camera sees, and then right beneath that is what the actual clip is, whether
Okay.
it's a trailer or a scene or whatever. And then I just step by step go through it. So I'll basically I'll build the scene in Mecha Bricks or Bricklink Studio, and then I'll bring it in, and then I'll just start setting up cameras for where the shots are and cutting to them, and then looking and making sure. And then I just kind of slowly I put the characters in and move them around a little bit, and then I start texturing them and lighting the scene, and then I start animating things like that.
It's truly fascinating. Again, I think you should, start up a Twitch where you're just recording yourself creating these scenes, because
Yeah.
it is a fascinating process, and I've been so honored to learn more a bit about it, because I'm sure some people out there just think, oh, he's putting it into a program and it's just AI taking over. I said, no,
Yeah.
this is blood, sweat, tears, and Lego going
Yeah.
going into a project here, and it's magnificent to see. But have you ever sort of woken up in the night thinking, I can't go back? I need to go back and do that again, or I've missed a
Yeah.
brick, or something's not quite right. Do you ever get those moments of stress last minute?
I don't get moments of stress. I kind of like woo-saw it off. Like when I finish a scene, I
Just
just put it out. I'm take a breather, and then I just like walk away. And then when there are scenes that I have out there, I'm sure I don't remember them at the moment, but where I'll see a thing that's an error and be like, ah,
mm.
damn it. Like, and sometimes it's something as simple as a caption. Like I messed up. I misspelled Buffy in a caption, and I didn't even notice it. And then a friend pointed out, they're like, "Oh, did you misspell Buffy on purpose?" Well, I was like, "No."
No.
And now I'm gonna think about it until my last day. Thank you.
But not only that, you're going to
Um,
remember the person that pointed it out.
exactly.
It was you. I remember
You did
you.
this to me.
Fantastic. Oh, but I mean, you're going to get some of that, I think, going as well. But there are
Yeah.
so many TV shows that you haven't recreated yet, or
Hmm.
taken a stab at. What ones would you like to put your twist on?
That's a good question. I actually have there's a bunch of there's not new ones, but there's a bunch of scenes shows on my list that I haven't tackled yet. Like I plan on and for some of them for reasons. Like for instance, one of the shows I plan on doing is a show called Reacher on Amazon Prime. And it's surprising. Like it didn't seem like a show that would be up my alley. I was like, oh, that doesn't really. And then my father-in-law convinced me to watch it, and I love it. Like it's
Wow,
just
isn't
such
it?
a really, yeah, it's so
It's
good. And I was just like, oh wow, wasn't expecting the show to be this solid. And so I keep meaning to. I think my hesitation is because one of the things I get a lot of in comments is people wanting me to make certain characters big figs, specifically Terry from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And
mm,
I don't do that just because like I get the joke, like
yeah,
he's a big guy, but big figs are so huge compared to minifigs. They're like it's like the Hulk, and I'm like, I get that Terry's big, but he's not like the Hulk big.
no,
And putting him into he would just take up the whole scene. Like I get the joke, guys. I totally understand the comedy of it, and I might do it for like a bit about how big Terry is. Like when he picks up Jake, I could maybe make that scene with him as a big fig. I was like, but for the mechanics of it all, like I need them to be minifigs, and so that's where I'm like, I would need to make Reacher a minifig because he is a big guy, but he's technically he's still basically just a little bit taller than these other guys and muscular. And so I'm like, my hesitation is always like, I'm just gonna get so many going. He should be a big fig. He should be a big fig. And I'm like, I get it.
it's not going to fit in with the rest of
Yeah,
the
it's not
scene
gonna
though.
work.
No, especially with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's not going to fit into the office.
Yeah.
He's going to be off
Yes.
screen.
I
You're
know.
just going to see like
They'd be like, why is there no roof in the
yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine precinct? I'm like, I
Why are all
couldn't
these
fit it.
why are all these scenes outside? What's that all about?
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
what's
but
going
yeah,
on?
I mean, but there are so many fantastic shows out there. I know you've done a
Yeah,
few
yeah.
scenes for The Office. There are some
Hmm.
fantastic scenes from, especially Seinfeld, that would be fantastic recreated in Lego
Yeah.
form. But again, this is clearly a project of passion for you.
Hmm.
And even though there are so many things out there that you would love to make, you simply don't have the time, which is a
That's
shame.
yeah.
But I love how you choose your projects because you've got a connection to it, whether it be this Superman film or Wicked and or
Hmm.
Kill Bill. There's something there that draws that attention to you, especially with again going back to Edgar Wright, because I think that was fantastic when he shared. That's just like complete recognition for you. That
Yeah.
is it. So I love that. So we've talked about proudest moments and what's been your happiest moment when you've been working on a Lego recreation.
My happiest moment. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's any specific. I have happy moments where I figure things out, like when I figured out how to make the this is graphic, but in Deadpool and Wolverine, when he stabs the guy in the back and the blood like shoots out fast and then in slow motion, when I figured out how to make the particle system do that with the bricks, I was just to the moon. I was so pumped. And then another aspect is like my kids are my both of my kids are super into it, but my son specifically like gets really fun. He's just like, "Can I see?" Some of them I can't show him, so he's like,
Yes.
"Can I see your new one?" And I'm like, "That's it's too inappropriate. You can't watch that one." But most of them, he gets really excited and like he watches my thing and he'll give me. If I'm like, I can't figure out how to make this thing look like this, he'll come running in with his Lego pieces and he's like, "Well, what if you did this?" Like he's super into it, which that's always my happiest when he comes running in here and like tries to
Oh,
help me or is excited to watch my stuff.
like school presentation days must be great
Yeah.
fun for you. You're just going
Yes.
to clean up. So step aside,
Yeah.
dads.
I got this.
I don't know who's going after me, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's my dad, the one with the Lego.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that's cool. No one's coming after that. Fantastic.
That's right.
When you do finish a project, who's the first person that normally gets to see that first finished piece?
My son usually is the first one to see it, yeah. Because he comes in right when I'm about to render it, so I let him watch it down and then it just goes out to the world.
Oh,
Unless it's something big like my friend that I was talking about where we were where that he and I geek out about Superman all the time. I sent him the Superman trailer before I sent it out.
wow.
And I sent him like the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. So that's it's like sometimes if there's a friend that I like talk about something with, I'll usually send it to them first and be like, "What do you think of this?" or whatever. But
Wow. Supreme bragging rights there for that.
I
That
know
is fantastic
I
for
saw
those
that
friends.
first.
I saw it first. I know it's getting millions of views, but I
I was
was
the
number
first one.
one. I was the first one. Has your son ever been a harsh critic? Has he ever made you change anything or?
Yeah, so he's a harsh critic sometimes, but only because he'll like walk in the middle of me working on something and it's not finished, and he'll be like, "That doesn't quite look like it's moving right." And I'm like, "Well, I'm in the middle of animating it." I was like, it's not done yet, but thank you."
Thank you for thanks for
Yeah.
that criticism. I'll get back to
Yes.
work now
Yeah.
as I reconsider your pocket
Yeah.
money.
I-
This is fantastic.
He's like, "Come
Oh,
on, Dad, get better."
fantastic. Well, Trevor, this has been everything that I wanted it to be and more. Thank you so much for your time today, for the projects
Of
you've
course.
created, and for the help you have done with promoting the film for Superman. Because we know it's been a huge chunk of their budget that they've not had to spend money on. But I'm hope that you do get some more recognition along the way. Where
Thank you.
can people find you online, sir?
You can find me everywhere. I'm on Threads, X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the things. Blue Sky, at Trevor Carlee, anywhere.
Wonderful. I mean, yeah, the lists are building up now of all the different places
Yeah,
we
I
go to
know.
promote
It's
ourselves.
so much work now.
It's a lot of work now, but there will be links to all your pages in this podcast. Trevor, again, thank you so much for your hard work. I can't wait to see what you do next. And hopefully in the future, you can jump back on and we can talk about the movie once we've both seen it.
Yes, I would
There we
love
go.
that.
Superb. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Thank you too.